Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 168 in a row of Flesh and Pod. My name is Logan. I am your host. With me, as always, is Darick Oswald, and also one of my favorite human beings in this entire shithole of a planet, flesh and blood artist and magnificent bastard, Isuardi Therianto. Isuar, thank you for coming back. I'm surprised that you did, because why would anybody want to hang out with two idiots like us? But, you know, I love that you do this. It's fantastic. How you been, buddy?
Hello. It's my pleasure coming here. I'm good. I'm really
You just told me you were sad.
Yeah.
You just told me you were sad. Now you need to explain why you're sad, because this is the best part.
Yeah. This year, tax season is pretty hard on me, because there's like a big chunk of tax coming my way by the class of assassins. Average this time, like in my journey playing Flesh and Blood, and there's a hero that I'm really excited to play on.
You even
I drew the hero. Damn right, I drew the hero. But the hero is fucking expensive. Shit.
Okay, people, fappers, my friends, the guy, the mensch, the amazing person that drew the fucking hero can't pay the assassin tax.
I missed my RTN, my first RTN, because my deck isn't like ready yet.
Oh my god. Everybody, we need to get our shit together as fappers and get Isuardi what he needs, so that he doesn't have to pay the assassin tax. He gave us such good shit in Arachne and the aesthetic of this hero that we all love. It's right here. It's right next to me. It's right here. And we all need to do our part and make sure that Isuardi doesn't have to pay his taxes. So people, we need to do this. We need to gather together. We need to band together and make this happen. So I would like to ask what Isuardi is up to in Flesh and Blood, but we can't because he couldn't play his fucking deck.
Not only the price, man, the availability is very scarce. I can get.
Yeah, it's not even easy to find in the U.S. right now. Truth be told, it's like I've been looking locally, and we have a pretty big local base, like for just 2 persuasive prognoses, and I can't find them. I have to like order them, and we have 30-40 players locally. Can't get them, so it's just. Yeah, it's a nightmare everywhere to a degree too. But Darick, you've been ill. Has that stopped you from taking part in the Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, it stopped me from taking part in anything. So Stark had it the worst. Stark was ill for, I think we did the math, and it was like 9 days total before he was fever free and like up and moving around. He tested positive for influenza A, because we ended up having to take him into urgent care because our family doctor had said if he's got a fever for more than 5 days, take him in, because they were concerned about secondary infections and things like that. So we took him in. He did have a secondary infection, so they gave him antibiotics for that. But he is finally, as of today, been 24 hours fever free, and he's up and moving around. I haven't felt well either. I had some intestinal problems. Even today, even though I was mostly mobile, I was able to go and run some errands. I didn't get everything done that I needed to. My stomach still really hurts. It just feels like I've been punched in the stomach, right? It feels like when you have the wind knocked out of you. But just in general, it's like the only way I know how to describe it. So no, I did not go to any RTNs over this weekend. I feel really bad because one was the local hoplite one, and I really wanted to show up, but I just it's basically the same thing as Worlds. I feel like all over again, right? Where it's one of those like I really want to go and I want to be selfish, but I don't want to get anybody else sick, right? And so ultimately, I just erred on not getting anyone else sick. So yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. And
it's either this weekend or the next weekend. I might be this weekend. I gotta look at the thing. There is still a draft that's like on the west side of the state that I'm gonna try to make it to. So it's not like, you know, RTN season has completely passed me by, but this past weekend was the one that was like the majority of what I would describe as like the core local ones. So yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to go in the events locators.
I'm sorry.
And I'm going to find out.
Is Charmer's voice like pretty low, or it's just me?
Oh no, that's pretty normal actually. Charmer's very soft whenever he talks on the show.
I know, but...
And Charmer, turn your fucking microphone up. I'm actually looking like where's this booster draft? Oh, well, no.
It would be on the west side of Michigan. So if you put in the zip code, so like Lansing would be like 48911. So if you do that and then say 100 miles, it should show up. But it's either this like upcoming weekend or the following one. But I know that there's a draft RTN.
No.
All right.
Well,
you're gonna make me look it up now, aren't you?
I am gonna make you look it up because, like, if it's on the western edge of Michigan, like maybe I would go, like, meet you there. But there's one in Ann Arbor that's classic constructed.
All right. So not western edge. So Genesee County. So Card Table Republic is the one.
Card Table Republic.
Yeah. So it's actually north, not west.
Okay, so let's look again here. There it is. Card Table Republic on Sunday the 23rd. Okay.
Yeah, and so I was looking at that one because it's a Sunday, so that means I don't have to compete. So the other problem wasn't a problem this weekend because there's no way he was playing. But the other problem I've had with this RTN season is that Sturk's basketball games are Saturday mornings, and that's also when most of the events fire. But this is on a Sunday, so this is my next, at least immediate target. And the Ann Arbor one that you're talking about, I'm pretty sure is Upkeep, because they have two stores out here. They have one in Ann Arbor and one in Howell. Chris is one of the owners. He's a pretty cool guy.
So for me to walk to there would take me 217 hours per Google Maps.
If you
it would include a ferry, apparently, to get there. It's a drive. It's a 9-hour drive. That's probably more than I want to deal with. So sorry, Charmer. As much as I want to come see you, I ain't doing that shit.
That's fair, I guess.
Yeah, whatever. But the I went to 2 RTNs this weekend. I went to Columbia, Missouri, which is 4 hours away from here, but we just stayed overnight because reasons. And turns out that I need sleep to compete. I didn't know that was necessarily the truth. I figured Unga Bunga aggro deck doesn't need to be too brainy-wainy to do things. And I was wrong about many things, as a matter of fact. So I went and played Syndra day 1. Went 2 and 3. Did not feel good whatsoever. I could not fathom the why, what, for, or how that I was fucking up entirely. And so then I saw that a good friend Ian Holland had posted on BlueSky about taking, second place in his RTN, in Ireland, and where, very good players, very difficult field with Syndra. Ah, shit. That was weird.
Yeah.
But everybody's back.
That
cool.
was weird.
That's fair. I'm sure everything's fine. Nothing can be fucked here. And so there's also backup recordings. Greg can figure this all out. And so, what happened was, like, Ian Holland had posted about, the fact that he did really well and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I have to be fucking up. There has to be something I'm just doing wrong. And he's like, here, he sent me his deck list and sideboard guide. And I started reading and went, oh, what this entire thing could have just said is that I'm a fucking moron. Because every single one of these matches I was doing completely wrong based on what you're doing. So yeah, I'm just stupid. That's good to know. So the next day, I already kind of committed to my brain to play Zen, and Gem didn't love me.
Yeah.
And my brain didn't love me because I didn't sleep again. And I go into like round 1 and I fuck up royally by, thank you, hon. My wife's bringing me tea so I can put whiskey in it because my dry out is over. And so I go in like round 1 play against a Vincent. Again, very well played. Opponent was very good. But I make the shit decision early to blow my Zen state blow my chest to make a Zen state for like kind of minimal value, because otherwise my opponent was going to strip a chi from my hand. I should have just let them strip a chi from my hand and been like, fine, whatever, I've got more. And completely fucked that up. And that probably cost me multiple life points in a game that ended with my opponent, I think, 2 when I died. And in another game, I'm staring at my hand, and I have a chi in hand, but I don't have a way to make the chi work. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to arsenal the card. Fine. I draw my next hand, and it has a blue 100 wins, and it's the chi that gives an attack go again. So I'm like, okay, I have 100 wins in hand and a wind chakra in hand, and I'm like, I'm going to play against Viscerai. I'm going to AB3 with this wind chakra. So on my turn, I can play the 100 wins, give it go again, who cares? And just so I can transcend and have Zen State up because it's a Viscerai matchup. I need to have Zen State up. So I go through my turn, I pitch the 100 wins to AB, and then stare at this wind chakra in my hand and go, wait, why is this in my hand? No. Fuck. Well, this doesn't do anything now. That sucks. So, block. And then my next hand I drop, I'm like, okay, great. I've got an Ancestral Harmony in hand. I can turn on my chi with like my 0 for 3 Tiger attack that I can give go again, so I can keep my turn going. I'm gonna be fine. All right. So take the Arcane, don't AB it. I'm not gonna block the attack. I got a good turn. And then my opponent's like, okay, no blocks, succumb. And I'm like, really? I reveal my hand, hope you take the wrong card. Oh, I'm gonna take your only blue. Yeah, of course you are. So I then went 3 more turns with the chi stuck in my arsenal. So basically IP5 off of the 1 decision. Lose that one pretty easily. And I'm like, yeah, my brain is not conditioned right now to play Flesh and Blood. I am fucked. And proceeded to go 1-3 drop, I think. Wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. And yeah, that was my weekend. So, you know, I got one more shot at this. I think I'm going to play Syndra with the correct frame of mind and try to get my qualification. But so far it's been 3 RTNs, not a single top 8, or not even a single top 8. Like, it's been pretty bad for me. So not feeling great about it. But at least I got to play. Sorry, Isuardi, not to rub that in your face.
So sobering up is not the answer.
Fuck no! Sobering up is never the answer. I am so much better at life when I'm drunk. It's just way, way easier. But turns out I get a little mean the more sober I get. Who knew? But I definitely, after that night in Prague with Az, needed that 30 days to just kind of ensure that I'm not dependent on alcohol. It's just, you know, it's there to loosen it up. So, cheers. Over the course of the weekend, though, like RTN week 2, we do have our results in, and Viscerai is almost dead. And so that's kind of a blessing for a lot of different things. However, it's going to make it so Enigma decides to rear its ugly head again pretty soon. That also doesn't feel great, but we still have a Syndra at least to keep that in check. But Viscerai is at 944 now. It probably doesn't survive next week. So if you are a Viscerai player that needs to get your Viscerai in, you got next week. And then Purple Homeboy is going to be gone. Dash stuck at 940, has been at 940 for like 6 months. So it has got 0 points this season. Not a single fucking event has been won by a Dash. There have been events won by Osilios. Like, Dash needs to be embarrassed. So, right. Not good. So I think the only hero that will LL this season, it looks like, will be Viserai. So Zen will be legal for the Pro Tour. Azalea will be legal for the Pro Tour. The only one that goes away is Viserai. So if you think about Viserai leaving CC, open floor here, what do you think that changes?
This might be a bit of a hot take, but I actually think that it might make things worse. And by worse, I mean people
more illusionist.
Well, no. So my hot take is that I think that Florian is better than people have been either giving him credit for, or at least better than his performance has been, because I think he's kind of a tougher nut to crack. What I'm about to say is entirely reductionist, so please take this with a grain of salt, right? Viserai, at least start to finish for the most part, has a relatively straightforward game plan, which includes the video cutting out. That's part of the game plan.
We're killing it. Yeah, we're doing a great job with that.
Not sure what that's all about. I assume somebody did an A-B one of the rune chants while I was talking. Anyway, again, entirely reductionist. We're talking like 50,000 foot view explanation of why I think this is the case. But I think Viserai is an attractive choice. One, because just aesthetically he fits certain people better. I think him being around for longer also brings a level of comfort, but also, for the most part, again, entirely reductionist, his game plan is pretty straightforward. Florian is like two-phased, right? Like, you have the setup and then the payoff. And he's also newer, less time for folks to have figured it out. But I am personally of the belief that Florian is at least, at a minimum, equal in power level to Viserai. I think once he's cracked, he might even be better. He just has an incredibly powerful effect once it's online. And I think that when Viserai finally LLs, you're going to get a bunch of people going, okay, now what? And you're going to have some more folks diving into the Florian end of the pool. And I think that that could be bad for the rest of us if they do just decide to figure out how to pilot that deck. Because again, anytime I see like a really powerful payoff, to me it's just one of those things where it's like you just got to give people enough time to like figure out the actual optimization of it, right? It's no different than you know, a Kano in skilled hands. Scary. Why? Because the payoff is incredible. Is Florian the next Kano? No. But is Florian really powerful once he's online? Absolutely. And so that's the way that I look at it. I think Viserai right now is a bit of a comfort pick for a lot of people, and once he LLs and you get the people that are going like, okay, now what? It kind of reminds me of like when Prism and Dromai were around. Dromai, it took a while for Dromai to get rolling. If you remember when she released, there was like a lot of talk about whether she was like actually good or not. And then eventually Prism LL'd and a bunch of people dedicated their time to figuring it out. And then suddenly she was like a top 3 hero in the format for quite a bit. And so I think that Florian will see the benefits, the fruits, pun very intended, of Viserai hitting LL.
Fucking hate you. I think also if you pay attention to Majin Bay's Storytime this week, which go watch Majin Bay's Storytime from this past week, his entire Verdance take actually makes sense with what you're saying, where Verdance's payoff is actually insane. Because he tells the story about how he goes into every round. He's like, man, I got paired into a Syndra or whatever. And people are like, oh, is that a bad matchup? Yeah, it's a fucking shitty matchup. So what happened? You lost? No, I won. They just did like a bunch of shit. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to lose this game. And then they're like, oh, good game. And they lost. And I don't know how that happened.
Yep.
But they lost. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, Caleb.
Yeah, skilled players on big payoff heroes tend to do very well historically. And again, like I said, I'm not saying there's not nuance to all of this, but my 50,000 foot view is just that Viserai is a comfort pick, and also like his game plan, because his hero power, if you will, is just always on, is just different and a little bit more straightforward or linear, whereas Florian is like you know, it's like an RPG boss, right? You got phase 1 and phase 2, and you got to figure out how to navigate it. And when you get to phase 2, the boss fight gets harder, and that's Florian and Verdance.
Oh, I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, Isra, what's your take on this? Like, what do you think? You know, no scary room boy. Like, what happens?
Yeah, as a very casual player here, I'm not gonna talk my way out and my head out, but I think it's interesting that Charmer thinks the Viceroy player will consort to Florian than Vincent, because I think Vincent is like the play style is very similar to Viceroy. I think if they want to crack the new deck, I think Vincent is the better option than Florian.
I mean, it is purple circle drawing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Vincent does.
Yeah.
Is draw purple circles with crayons, which is what Viceroy does.
Because, and playing Florian, people tends to really think about to use the art element for a hero, and but Viceroy is like very, very straightforward to Runchen and
Yep. Yeah, if you're thinking about it, I guess that's an interesting thing, because if you do think about it aesthetically, like, let's take that, right? And you look at Viceroy and Florian, there's not a lot to compare. It's like the manager at a Hot Topic and one of the employees. But if you look at Vincent and Viceroy, they're both employees of the Hot Topic. Like, they look the fucking same. They're just like, one works a little bit closer to the goth aisle than the other, and the other one's like admiring piercings from the cash register. Like, that's the two heroes, right?
I agree with you, and that's why I said that there were some aesthetic choices to consider. I think that in practice, though, there are two, in my opinion anyway, just again broad, I think there are two potential negatives that might make people who are leaving Viceroy lean more toward Florian as opposed to Vincent. The first is that one of the feels bad moments of piloting a Viceroy, for example, is when your hand bricks and you draw either like all non-attacks, right? Or
Runeblade hands. Yeah,
Runeblade hands.
not Aurora hands.
Vincent, so
Aurora hands. Yeah, she's a Runeblade. Yes.
Sure. Vincent is somebody who adds like a third variable, because you're also forced to banish a card, and if that's not something that's playable, then you have like runebladed your hand even further. Like, you could have non-attacks and attacks, but if the thing you're forced to banish is one of the pieces of your puzzle and it's not one of the ones that has Rune Gate or whatever, well, now you've just, even with a good Runeblade hand, you've Runebladed yourself with the Vincent ability, right? So it's an extra layer of feels bad, kind of like the extra layer that is the frequent video dropouts that I'm curious how Greg's going to solve that. But
I mean, I'm the one, you have to be the one that solves it. It's just, I may have to have Greg pull the master copy or whatever the fuck he does from the background.
Curious
we'll
to see if the audio keeps going.
Everything's keeping going, apparently. Like, it's been I'm going to leave all this in too, by the way. I'm not editing this out.
So the other thing that I think potentially works against Vincent, so one is figuring out just like the forced banish aspect, right? The other piece that I think is going to be a part of the puzzle anyway is that at least when you're playing Florian, you have a very similar mechanic to Viceroy, right? So Viceroy's whole thing is, you know, once you have played certain things, you kind of get those free rune chants, and you're kind of really excited about big Mordred tide turns, etc., etc. Florian, once he's online, is giving you those extra rune chants and really giving you a payoff for Mordred Tide, and again, it's more setup, but I think that you get what feels like Viceroy on steroids as your payoff, and so if it's that part mechanically that drew you in, I think that you're more likely to enjoy that than Vincent. Vincent, I do think, is much closer aesthetically. I think Vincent also is going to be a far more attractive option if more Enigma does show up. I think Vincent has a lot of things working for her in that matchup potentially, but ultimately I just feel like both the play style and the, you know, attempting to avoid the feels bads is weighing in favor of a Florian. And, you know, I'm kind of happy that we mentioned the joke about Aurora, because I do think that Aurora is somebody who also belongs in that discussion, but I feel like Aurora, as weird as it sounds, like she's still capable of Runeblade hands, but she's the least Runeblade feeling of Runeblades. She feels more lightning and less Runeblade to me, personally.
Yeah, I think that's true. Like, honestly, aesthetically as well, but I think in general, you play less, lack of a better term, you play less Runebladey with Aurora than you would with the other. The other two heroes are Runebladey.
Like, ultimately, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Of all the Runeblades that I, you know, have had the pleasure of piloting, I feel like I make the least rune chance with her. It's not that you can or don't. It's just
it's about on par with Briar, honestly.
I feel
you
like
you didn't make a ton with Briar.
You didn't make a ton, but I still feel like, if I'm being honest, that I made more because
there were more blues.
There were more blues,
you needed
and
I
grasped more. Exactly.
Yeah, because you needed a thorn. Yeah,
that's what I was.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where I just feel like Aurora is, like, she's still a Runeblade and still has some of those facets, but she just feels the most lightning and less Runeblade of the bunch.
Yeah, my throat started feeling scratchy. I'm like, God, if only I had something. Wait. My wife brought me tea, and lo and behold, there's a bottle of whiskey next to my desk. Who am I to judge? And so we went and put whiskey in my tea. So, oh shit. Well, never mind. I just spilled hot tea on my balls. You're gonna have to pardon me for a minute because that really hurts. Now that my testicles are on fire, let's move on to talking about art, because that was art. And, you know, ignore the artist here. And honestly, like, I never like when this feels like pseudo-reductionist, because obviously it's, you know, we bringing, you know, Isuardi on the show, the assumption might be made that we're bringing him on the show because he's a notable Flesh and Blood artist. And while that is true, and we are huge simps for his work, not gonna lie, the reason we bring Isuardi on the show is because we want to talk to our friend Isuar, and this is the best fucking excuse we have to do it. So, you know, it's a little bit of that too, or it's actually mostly that. But I think we'd miss the point a little bit if we just didn't talk about art in Flesh and Blood and in card games a little bit. So I guess that's like, I put down some of my curiosities that I know we didn't cover last time we were here. And obviously, Darick, you can go ahead and filter anything you want to ask. But the first thing I wrote down here was just, you know, what's your favorite medium to work in? It looks like you can do anything.
Oh, that's not true at all. That's part.
I don't know that.
It's not true.
My balls are on fire. I do know that because, God, that was hot tea. But I really should think about that harder. Shit.
Yeah. When you're talking about when I talk about my favorite medium is my job demands like faster work, and I think digitally it's pretty easy, and it can accommodate like every professional job I do. So I'm pretty proficient with it, and yeah, it's much easier. But I also enjoy working in traditional media, and shout out to all people that commission me artist proofs. I can explore my way like using acrylic paints, oil paints, gouache, pencil marker, and everything. It's really fun. It's really fun for me. I would like to thank all of you. So is it my favorite? I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I honestly love the look of gouache. Like, I just think it looks so good whenever I see it, like, well done. And that always, like, it always struck me when I saw the artist proof work that you did. Like, obviously I own some of it because I own the tokens you made of us, which are still some of my favorite fucking things ever. Because it's baller and we look like we're characters in the goddamn next set, which we'll get to eventually. But and then I have, you did an artist proof Grains of Blood spill for me with a Vigor token on back, which I still think is probably the thing that I get the most I comments of, where the fuck did you get that? Because I always present the Vigor side because I use it as my Vigor token, and I'm like, oh, it's an artist proof. They're like, an artist proof on a Vigor token? I'm like, oh, you sweet summer child. And then I'll flip it over and they're like, wait, what? You have an artist proof Grains of Blood spill? I'm like, I do. Like, where did you get that? I'm like, you sure? Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, man. Artist proof, really different experience for me, and it's really fun, man. It's like treating back my job as a hobby. When when I'm in Japan, in Osaka, I spend my time in art store looking for a brand of acrylic paints that only sells in Japan, not in my country. Like shopping for art supplies internationally. It's it's very fun. It's like I'm an artist now. I can buy brush in art shop.
Yeah. And that's awesome, right? It's you kind of not a great equation, but I think it fits. It's like I have a buddy who's a brewer who brews beer. That's what he does. And he loves nothing more than to go to countries where there was shit that he can't get and drink beer there. Because he can't get it here. Yeah. And it's just so much cooler for him.
Yeah, it's the feeling is this is the fun part I really like to do.
Yeah, the American euphemism is kid in a candy store. Yeah. You're just excited, running around, and just yay! It's like Willy Wonka's fucking chocolate factory for you, which would also be fun. And also, Josh said that he will make sure he provides you with Whittaker's chocolate, just making sure that you understand that is something Josh did commit to. Mainly because he, it's weird. Not to get too deep into this, but when you do what we do, there's a lot of parasocial type of stuff, right? We are, especially when you're the way we are, right? We're very upfront. We are who we are. We don't mince words. We talk about our personal lives. We just heard Charmer talking about his ill child, and we're very genuine about ourselves and our struggles, and that a lot of times can make people feel like they know you, and that's totally cool. And I have people walk up to me a lot and say, I love the show. I love what you and Darick do. I love this and I love that. And I'm sure you get that too, where people kind of walk up and they've seen you. They think that they've met you through your art, or they've met you through listening to shows like this. Although, have you done any other podcasts besides ours, or are you cheating on us? I guess I don't know, but I think that's part of it, right? Where we've made close friendships with people like you, like Josh, and it's so fun for us when we get to interconnect, because you asked Josh a question, then Josh came on and had to answer it. Now I have you on the show and I can just go back to that same question because he owes you chocolate, and I think that's legitimate, right?
Yeah, it's a joke. You don't have to give.
It's a binding contract.
You don't have to give me chocolate anymore, Josh.
Josh is the type of person that if you tell him that I don't have to give you chocolate anymore, he's just going to give you double chocolate.
My wife will be pretty happy about it. In fact,
that's also just how Josh is.
It's all of him.
Yeah, right. And that's what makes this so much fun for us, is we get people like you, people like Josh, people like Trevor, people like Alex. It's just so much fun. Brian, the other Alex. God, there's two Alexes. That always fucks me up. But it's just way more fun for us because of this, and I'm just happy that you're here with us, honestly, because you're one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
This turns out. Which leads me to the next question. Is there anything you won't do?
About that question, I think LSS tried to give me a card. I don't know. So there's a card that they want me to do, but I don't know for what reason they asked me first. This is about brute eating a corpse. So I think it's
cannibalism.
I think dig up dinner.
Oh, dig up dinner. Yep. Okay.
So they asked me if it's alright, and I rejected. Because in my head, I think eating corpse is too gore for me. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of gore.
Yeah, it's a lot of gore, but it turned out like the art on Dig Up Dinner is like it's not so gore or something. I mean,
no, Kevin did a pretty good job, like of making it not look super gory, but I can see why. But I'm thinking, I mean, but like you did Mask of Recurring Nightmares, and that's
I mean.
That is more terrifying to me.
I'm not like close to gore category, but yeah, when they say like eating up corpse, it's like, what's this look like?
Well, the way that Kevin did this, though, I think is kind of fine because for the most part, it just kind of looks like roadkill. I mean, yeah, you can see the hand there, but I think this was a good happy medium.
But then there's Mask of Recurring Nightmares, which scares me more.
Gory. It's not gory.
No, it's not. It's implied. It's because of the implications in Mask of Recurring Nightmares. This person is not going to get what they paid for.
Yeah, man. Pick Up Dinner is like pretty much a body horror, and that's like my least favorite genre of a movie.
Oh, what's your favorite movie genre? Let's do this.
My favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know. I say like I hate body horror, but The Substance is pretty good.
Okay, what's your favorite movie? Let's go that route.
This year? I don't know, man. My favorite movie, at top of my head, I would say Fury Road.
Oh, okay. So that post-apocalyptic, like dystopian.
Yeah. Aesthetically, like it's not like this is my aesthetic, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is fun. I enjoy like movie like Fury Road, but I also enjoy like Wes Anderson's movie.
Okay.
Just like aesthetically apart.
No, that's very far apart because a Wes Anderson movie is like. Are you like a Life Aquatic person, or are you a like Royal Tenenbaums person?
Aesthetically, Royal Tenenbaums is like very good.
Yes, very much so.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Also love Grand Budapest. Rushmore.
I like the story. I love the story of Rushmore, but aesthetically, I think this like it's like
I mean, fine, but no, I think that my favorite is probably still Royal Tenenbaums because I think the characters in Royal Tenenbaums are the best that Wes Anderson's ever done. Everybody's very distinct.
Yeah.
And also just like when you have the power of Gene Hackman in a fucking movie and you know how to leverage it, you end up with something great. And he did a fantastic job of figuring that part out. So that's just, I think that's where I'm at with Wes Anderson. And then did Nuclear Town? What is it? Bomb Town? What's his most recent one? Bryn loves it, and now I'm blanking on the name of it, and I wasn't as in love with it as she was. Asteroid City. That's it. And I thought that was fine. I didn't love it, but she was like, "No, it's the best movie of that year," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." She's gonna fucking get on my ass about that on After Dark if she listens to this show before then. Which After Dark is on Wednesday, folks. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday and you're a patron, the next day is when we're After Darking. Next question I have on here is, you're also a Flesh and Blood player. We've already talked about that. You can't pay your assassin taxes, and does that change how you look at the game as an artist? Like, can you separate those two things out, or does it like influence you as an artist when you're working on the game?
Oh, yeah. Yes and no. No, because when they give me like cards, like the brief doesn't say anything about the property, so I don't know if this card is gonna be a good card or this card is gonna be a bad card. I only know like the class, the rarity maybe, because higher rarity means higher paid.
They pay by rarity?
Yeah. Higher rarity.
Oh my god, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on. Let me get like. Sorry, now I got you. Sub-questioned me. I can't ignore this.
Sure.
So, does a hero, since they don't have like really a rarity, does a hero pay the most?
Yeah, hero pay the most because it's like a different level. And
okay.
I suspect that the rarity scale part, Logan, is that if they know that it's going to be something that's sought after and you're going to have that moment, they want to just make sure that the artist takes the extra time for it. But also when you think about some of your majestic and legendary equipment pieces, I think of anything where you're going to have like almost like a permanent board state, or you're always going to be seen every game like a hero, that again, you probably just want them to take that extra time, and so you get cool things like, I don't know, shock charmers, or lightning
Mask of Recurring
greaves,
Nightmares, or
Mask of Recurring Nightmares, or grains or whatever, just as examples, not
as
picking
examples.
any sort of artist out in particular. But yeah,
Infiltrate.
that makes sense to me. Like, I did the same thing. My ears perked up when he said it, but then it makes sense to me just from if you know that you have limited capacity, right? If you have X number of pieces of art you're going to need before a set drops, and you're commissioning them of the ones you want somebody to just say, give that extra love to, it would make sense that you want it to be your more marquee pieces.
Yeah, I guess if you stop and think about it that way, that makes sense. So back to the question though, it's like, do your gameplay, like the fact that you play the game, like ever influence like how you treat a piece? Like you see a warrior piece come across and an assassin piece come across the same rarity. Is it like, this warrior piece, fuck off, this assassin piece though?
Dude, no. I took my job seriously, man. I'm professional.
You're on wax, you know that, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, but by playing the game, I know like how aesthetically leaning I should go with the cards.
Sure.
But not because I hate illusionists, so fuck this. No.
Yeah. But you do feel that helps.
Yeah.
Being a player.
It really helps.
Okay. Like, then that makes sense to me. It's just like, I could honestly see, because a lot of people, for good reason, a lot of people do associate your work with Assassin and specifically with Arachne. And I could see it being a thing where, you get pieces in and you're like, okay, I can make something cool for this. Okay, yeah, I get this. I can do something really cool. Oh shit, it's Arachne. Let's fucking go. And then you do something insanely baller. But then I go look through your profile and I just pull up your cards on Fabric. I did that tonight because I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and he was like, anything cool for their show? Because he knew I was recording tonight. And I'm like, oh yeah, my friend Isuardi is going to be on. He's like, okay, is that a thing? And I'm like, oh, he's one of if not the best artist in Flesh and Blood. And he's like, how the fuck do you know that guy? And I was like, oh, he accidentally didn't use his burner account and commented on one of our YouTube videos, and that's how I caught that he listened to the show. And so then I called him out, and he's like,
the actual answer to that is that we don't know him, he knows us. And we
I'm not that big of an asshole.
We just try to pin him down.
We do.
No, I meant that more of a, like, he is aware of our existence, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But, and so he's like, oh, cool. And he's like, so he's an artist. I'm like, yeah, here's his profile. And I pull up your Fabrary page and show it to him. He's just like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, it's gases. He's like clicking on images and expanding them. He's like, Jesus. Because he was looking at like it's like it was a Terminator tank or Annihilator engine you did? The mech, it was Annihilator, okay. The mech one you did, and he's just staring at it. He's like, this is absurd. Like, this is manga mecha, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, it's exactly that. And then he's going down and he finds he found Arachne. He's like, okay, this is absurd, this is incredible. And then he hit Mask of Recurring Nightmares and was staring at it. I'm like, oh wait, let me get you the full art of that. And so I went and snagged the full art. He's like, okay, this is just fucking dumb, this is so good. I'm like, yeah, I know, right? He's like, and you're friends with this person? I was like, yes.
Good friend.
He's like, how good? Yeah, he's like, how good a friend? I'm like, and then I pulled up the tokens that you did of us. He's like, oh, that good a friend. I'm like, yeah, I paid him, but I didn't pay him enough. And so, yeah, it was interesting, a little interesting conversation because a lot of my friends that I have locally are not Flesh and Blood people. They are people I know from other walks of life, some from Magic, some from growing up here, whatever it is. And so whenever they are like, oh, do you have somebody coming on the show? I'm like, oh yeah, it's the head of, the guy that writes the rules for Flesh and Blood. What do you mean writes the rules? Oh, as in he's the person literally writing the rule book. You know that guy? Yeah, he sent me chocolate for my birthday. What? Yeah, that chocolate I brought you to try, he sent it to me because he loves me. Like you should. You didn't give me chocolate. He did. He's a better friend. And then he bought me a drink. But the point is that it was just like more of an interesting like little like retrospective of, yeah, we have these cool people that come on and they're just fucking awesome, and we don't deserve it. We don't deserve you.
No,
that's basically where we're going with that.
Definitely don't.
No, we really don't.
Everything, dude. I learned to play the game by hearing your podcast, man.
And we appreciate that because
Isuardi, we appreciate you and we love you, and I don't want to downplay the significance that is the folks that approach us and say thank you and really appreciate what you do and you're my drive to work, etc. Like, we do genuinely appreciate that, and so I don't want to make this sound like we are, or I guess me, I won't include Logan in what I'm about to say, but in my next statement. But the difference between us and you is that you will, no matter what happens from here on out, always be just like an integral part of Flesh and Blood in the history of the game, because your art pieces are tied to some of the most iconic pieces, right? So as much as you say that you enjoy us, there's a difference between like us being fun, active members of the community,
idiots,
and then we look at your end and you're somebody who literally breathes life into the game. So if you, not saying that this is going to happen, but if you think like 5, 10, 15 years down the road, if this game starts hitting magic levels or finds new projects, right? We could see some of the characters that you have brought to life be in graphic novels, be
action figures, or on Netflix or Amazon Prime cartoons or whatever. And even if those art pieces end up being done by different animators or whatever, at the end of the day, it's still like your character design that will come to life. So like, you are just such an integral part of the game's history from this point forward.
And I'm mostly saying this because I know sometimes when you're doing the work, and especially when it's your job, it's easy to lose sight of that. But you're kind of a big deal, and you should feel really good about that as well. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that I know that it can be like hard to think about it from that perspective, but the heroes especially, they're such a huge part of Flesh and Blood and what makes the game be the game that it is. And you have had your hand in multiple heroes at this point, and deservedly so. So I just wanted to say thank you, because you are behind my favorite character in the game, just, you know, full stop. So I genuinely appreciate it.
Dude,
It's 100% true. And there was a moment, a post Armory moment, about a month ago, where we're at the bar, and one of our locals, friends of mine, is just like, man, I wish Isuardi, I could get Isuardi Therianto to do a piece for me. And I'm like, oh, you mean like this? And I pulled up the Vigor token, and I'm like, or like this, and pulled up the tokens of us who did. He's like,
oops.
what the fuck? Like, just like that video drop, he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, he's a friend. Like, he did this for me, and he did these for us. And he's just like, wait, you know him? I'm like, yeah, I do. He listens to the show. He's like, do you think you could get him to do something for me? Like, if you know, obviously I'd pay him, but do you think I could get him to do a commission for me? Like, probably, yeah. And he's just like, like a tattoo? I'm like, sure, probably. And because there's somebody out there, there's actually more than one person, but there's definitely somebody out there in Des Moines, Iowa, that wants your art tattooed on their body.
Oh, yeah, I remember it.
No, it's a different person, because you've never met this one.
No,
but,
I think someone
different person.
like approached me on Twitter, something about.
Yeah, maybe actually that's possible.
I don't know. I forget about it. It's like years ago. I don't know. I can remember it.
Yeah, this was, but he's like a giant fan, and you didn't realize that. Yeah, that's a contact you can make. We could get this for you, and he's just like, holy shit, you know, he's super happy about it. But that's the type of impact you've had. People find a connection through your art, and while we connect with people in like these snippets, where you're closer to like a long-term relationship, we're closer to just an orgasm. You know, you can get that anywhere, but a long-term fulfilling relationship, that takes a lot of commitment and time, and that's more you.
It's even potentially greater than that in my mind. Like, he is from this point on, I bequeath you the title Father of Spiders.
It makes sense,
dude. I really appreciate it. It's like,
but you're Spider Daddy now, though. Like, yeah. Holy shit!
You are Spider Daddy. You are the father of spiders. You are the baiter of goon. You are.
You prick! I didn't fucking need that.
I was waiting for you to take that drink.
Son of a bitch! Fuck you! But you are the baiter of goon. That's so great. You've savored my bloodshed for today.
Man, I'm at a lost word, man. You are too kind. I mean, that's like, you know, artists tends to like have like a dooming vibes, because I don't want to say that we are not appreciated enough, but we have like really look up to ourselves, like if we've done enough with our works, and hearings that people appreciated our works, it's like a very great feeling for us. It's like like the parents' approval that you're looking for.
But you're Spider Daddy, not us. We're looking for your approval.
Not saying that my parents is awful. They support me with my endeavor, but
fair enough.
Yeah, I think it's like have a pretty great effect, like saying your appreciation to our works, and I
absolutely,
and I really thank you for it.
Yeah, the last thing that I had written down here was just an easy. What was the first card you did for Flesh and Blood? Not the first that was released, necessarily. The first that you did.
Yeah.
And then what was your first commissioned piece of professional art?
I cannot remember what my first my first professional works. I don't know, but my first work in Flesh and Blood is Piercing Shadow Vice.
That was your first one?
My first one.
That was the first one that came out too, though, right? Like, that was the earliest set that came out.
Yeah.
For what you did, if I remember right.
In Monarch.
It's in Monarch. You didn't have anything in the first 3 sets, if I remember right. So okay. And it's still one of those pieces that gets people to like stop and go, oh wait, what? This is some Baldur's Gate 3 shit. Like, this is a mind flayer eating somebody's ass, and I'm like, yeah, it is. It's great. But was that your only piece in Monarch?
No, I think there's
no, because Nazareth Nazareth is in Dust Till Dawn.
Oh, wait a minute. When Chain is released, Chain
is Monarch.
Chain is Monarch.
Yep.
Yeah. Soul Shackle. I did Soul Shackle.
Soul Shackle. Yep.
Soul Shackle, Pushing Shadow Fast, and one more. I forgot.
I can find it because I'm just gonna look it up now. Because I know there's one other Monarch one, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Because you did Diamond Hands, blah 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 blah. You did a bunch in Tales because you did Force of Nature, you did Fulminates. You did.
Oh, this one, Unhallowed Rites.
Unhallowed Rites. Okay. Yep. And that was actually one of my favorite. Like, when I started playing Flesh and Blood, I looked at that card. I'm like, oh, I'm putting this in my deck. So, and not because it was good, but because the art was sick. So yeah, I do remember that now. That's so, like, how do you think, or like, how did you get that? Like, how did that happen? Did they reach out to you?
I reached out to them.
You reached out to them, okay?
Because in their website, like, there's like invites for artists to send portfolio, and I sent them email, and they reached back to me.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Great.
Darick, it's your turn. If you have any questions, filter in. Otherwise, we're going to listener questions, and these are dicey.
What I want to know, because I know what your experience has roughly been up until this point, but now that you are in a position where you have to pay
that was a lot of whiskey.
The assassin tax, if you are commissioned to create some really cool pieces in the future, are you like maybe gonna draw them in crayon hoping that they'll be less expensive and you can afford your own cards?
Funny you asking about that. For now on, I'm never gonna reject Assassin's card again.
Fair.
Because when like last year when I go to Osaka and Sydney, I have to, like, I'm not rejecting it, but I cannot do Hunter's Clave because of that.
Oh, because of Osaka?
Yeah, because I have to go to Osaka and Sydney.
So you were originally supposed to do Hunter's Clave.
I originally supposed to do Hunter's Clave and Mass of Deceit.
That explains so much, because if you look on TCG Player's website, it lists you as the artist for Hunter's Clave. And I couldn't figure out why.
Oh.
And I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? But it had to happen because the file was probably submitted from LSS to TCG Player and originally had your name on it. Now it makes sense. because if you go to tcgplayer.com and you look up Hunter's Clave, it says artist Isuardi Therianto, and I'm like, that is not Isuardi. And I didn't know why. That they must have fucked up, or unless put the name in there because it's an assassin card. Obviously, it's Isuardi Therianto, but that just explains entirely why it's there like that. Because I was like, I can't make heads or tails of this. It doesn't make sense. But now it does.
Yeah.
But you should never reject an assassin card again, by the way.
Yeah, I forced my way to go to Sydney and Osaka last year, and I have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you going to London? Because we need you to go to London.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If they invited me, I won't. I will go. But last 2 years is pretty tired for me to go around the world.
I get it.
But if they want me to go, who am I to reject?
LSS, if you're listening, and I know you are, because we have confirmation now, Isuardi Therianto would like to go to London as a featured artist. Can you make this happen, please? Because I need work from him. This isn't about anybody else anymore. It's about me. So, listen, I got to do what I can. I have a platform to speak. Fuck it. But we would love to see you there, obviously. And then also, it's only been a couple, but it's also been my favorite part of the couple events it's been. So, I remember you in LA and walking up, and you're just like, there's a stack of cards this fucking tall, and you're signing them. I'm like, what's going on, man? And you just look up and you're like, some motherfucker dropped a stack on me. And you just keep signing. It's like, and I'll walk away now. And then I talked to your wife for a minute, and I walked away because you were just too busy. And then later on, I stopped by and talked to you for a few minutes, but and got Charmer's artist proof because he didn't show up, and got my stuff that I had gotten, and actually got to talk to you. But when I first walked up, you were fucking buried. And but it's always those little interactions, those little times have always been stuff that I cling on to because it was just fun. It was interesting. It was entertaining, and it was somebody that I really care about and enjoy. But we need to find a time where you can schedule some extra days so we can go out and do stupid shit. Because that would be way more fun, especially if you could experience a night out with myself and Az and Ian Holland and see if you survive.
I don't think I would survive that.
Most people don't. It was one of my favorite interactions in Prague was Charmer being out with us, and Charmer was wrecked. He had a lot to drink. And he had told Ian at a bar in Old Town, man, I'm fucking shit-faced. And so the next day, Ian is talking to me. He's like, so Charmer told me told me last night that he's shit-faced. That he was shit-faced. I'm like, oh yeah, he was fucking hammered. And Ian's like, but he was acting like a regular dude. Like, yeah, that's Charmer drunk. Wait, what's he like when he's not drunk? He's an unbearable ass. Oh, so when he gets drunk, he just acts like a normal person? Yes. Well, that's fucking weird. And then we went from there. But those are the types of things I want you involved with, because I think you'd have a blast doing that bullshit. Because it gets fun. Charmer, did you have anything else before we dive into this?
I had one other question, and he may or may not be able to fully answer it, mostly because,
NDAs,
future projects and whatever. But I was thinking about this. We've got the long-awaited pirate themed, or at least something we know is going to have pirates. Or I guess maybe call it nautical themed set with High Seas coming, right? So I was thinking Flesh and Blood already covers kind of a lot of genres and aesthetics, right? We've got traditional light versus dark stuff. We've got carny stuff with Bravo. We've got pirates. We've got some gothic stuff. We've got jungle oriented stuff, steampunk, and then you were kind enough to also throw in some cyberpunk for us during Bright Lights, etc. So the question that I had is, is there a style or genre or aesthetic of art that you haven't either been able to do or been asked to do for Flesh and Blood that you would like to do? Like, is there something that you have an itch for that you would like to do a certain style, but it just hasn't aligned with their requests yet? And hentai is an acceptable answer.
It is not an acceptable.
Ah, shit.
You know what,
I just wanted to make him laugh. I knew that one would get him.
This motherfucker likes to draw tentacles, is what I just heard.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what? When we get some sea monster that has tentacles coming from high seas and it's by him, I'm gonna call back to this for the record.
Yeet.
Fuck fit, man. Tentacles for the win.
Tentacles for the win is the clip of the
I don't know,
week.
like, I think, like, it's almost covers all the genre. Like what you say, like light and dark, tribalistic, carny things. I don't know what else is left. What else is left? Space thing? I don't know.
Yeah, space would be a thing.
I just didn't know, like, you could do space, you could say kaiju, like, there's pop culture stuff, but I didn't know if you were also gonna say, like, maybe you just really have had an itch or a desire to do surrealism lately, or maybe you've wanted to do...
Like Rewind?
Yeah, or... You know, maybe he just really wants to do like a manga or an anime style,
I love it.
or...
But I don't know if I can nail it.
Well, sure, but
No,
that's
of
what I
course you
mean.
can.
I didn't know if there were things that you as an artist have had, you know, the itch to either do or try or expand your range on, but just hadn't, you know, had the opportunity. And it's also fine if the answer is just no. I just was thinking with High Seas coming, we have a lot of different, you know, cool popular culture aspects of stuff covered now in Flesh and Blood, but I didn't know if there was, you know, something missing or just that you were really itching to do.
Also, if you-
Superheroes. Maybe you want to do Super Bravo.
Also, if you make like a manga Arachne Nuzuri, we need to see it first to proof it.
You have to ask Robbie for it.
That's fair.
Like, I can say if there's any genre in my head that haven't been tackled yet that I want to do. But if you're talking what I plan to do is one day I want to do traditional painting for Flesh and Blood card. But I don't. But
Oh, okay.
I don't know when I have the time or when I have the enough skills to do it.
I don't think it's a skill
I think
issue.
it's a skill issue.
Of course you do, because you're an artist. But like, I think you could do like a traditional oil painting that would be perfect, honestly.
I mean, Thomas, like, his traditional painting is like really, really good.
It's
But-
really good. Yep, agreed.
But even he doing digital for Flesh and Blood cards. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Because it's quicker.
But yeah, one day I want to do traditional painting.
Have you ever thought about just doing a traditional painting that you think fits the Flesh and Blood aesthetic, and then hoping that you get something that it applies to?
I don't think it works that way.
I don't know if it does or doesn't, because I'm not an artist. I'm just an idiot with a
Yeah,
microphone.
even Big Joseph like once talked to me like if I want to like redraw my card in traditional media, and he said that there would be a market for it, but I don't know, man. I still don't have the confidence and time to do it. Honestly.
I understand. Yeah, I understand that. But like, you were prescient enough to 2 years ago know that there was going to be a pirate theme set coming, and you made Charmer and I exactly fit into the pirate theme set. So we have art of us that's just high seas art.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's already got people talking. That's fantastic. So did you put us on Flesh and Blood cards and no one knows it? Like, did that happen?
One day, if the stars align, you'll be there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's going to be wild because we're going to see a card that's going to be like, hold the fuck on. Is that like Charmer, Logan, and like Elaine? And like, what the fuck?
Yeah, one day.
It'd be like, one day. I would be the most over the moon to be like, wait a second. Is that me? And be, huh? Isur? What the fuck, man?
That would be kind of wild.
Yeah, if they...
I don't know. I could die happy at that point, honestly.
Maybe if they ask me for Decap dinner promo, then you'll be on the card.
You're going to have me... Am I eating Charmer? Or is what's happening here?
Yeah.
Or am I dinner?
Could be either way. Could be...
I feel like we would be locked in and we would have to cosplay it at that point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so one of us actually has to die.
I have been waiting all my life for this moment.
God damn it. I knew that would happen, and I still said the thing.
Yep.
Let's go to listener questions, shall we? The first one is from Iceberg, we call him Bergie. He's one of my locals. What are your guys' takes on what classes will be featured in High Seas? I think we kind of went through this. Isuar, I'm going to let you say anything you want to say, but I also understand there's things you probably can't say because you do have some knowledge of the sets.
Yeah, man. I don't think I can say anything about it.
I'm pretty sure you can. To me, it's either pirate is a class or pirate is a talent. And so either we get a pirate as a class or it's pirate talented other classes. I think we're due for a traditional rune blade. So I could see pirate being a class and then a traditional rune blade. Beyond that, I'm not sure. Darick?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I've decided pirate is a talent. We're going to get pirate, we're going to get swashbuckler, and we're going to get like either fishmonger or something like that. And one of the heroes will be a talented version of Riptide that will be like the fishmonger one. We're going to get like a swashbuckling Bravo and some new unique pirate like the lady that's on Shelter. It's
funny because if you look at the art for, I believe it's Nourishing Emptiness. Oops. I think that's right. Yeah, it's Nourishing Emptiness. If you look at the shoji panels behind the character that's in the forefront, you see the deaths of the WTR characters, and it looks like Bravo's walking the plank. And so I think that that's interesting. Because you have Dory with a spear through her fucking chest. And you have Katsu buried in arrows, I believe. And it looks like Bravo's walking a plank. So that's fun too, in my mind. That we might be getting like some of the, we might actually be moving on from some of the older characters too, if that's possible. I'm also interested in that, but I don't know if Flesh and Blood is ready to like turn the page on that or not, but I think it'd be interesting because like really the only one that we've lost is, and we haven't really even lost them, is Minerva.
Emperor's
and we haven't really
dead.
I mean, Emperor wasn't really a thing to begin with. He existed in the set he was murdered in. That's a short run.
You know, that's like doing my boy Thunderbird dirty, though.
That is Thunderbird dirty. That is 100% Thunder. Are you familiar with Thunderbird dirty, Isuardi? Okay, so in Giant Size X-Men #1, you have the debuts of Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, and Thunderbird. But Thunderbird dies in Giant Size X-Men #1. Homeboy lasted not even an issue. And so that's getting done Thunderbird dirty. Like to the point that they made Thunderbird 2 15 years later, give or take. New Mutants was Thunderbird 2 became Warpath.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a meme for a while. Before memes existed, as a matter of fact. Next one's an easy one. It's from Sergeant Swanson. Not necessarily a listener question, but would love for you guys to do a shout out for me. We can do those. At Vintox, proud member of the Patreon, for hosting a fabulous pre-release in Iowa. He did do a good job. I wasn't there, but I'm so glad that myself and 7 others could tie for second place. Yeah, that's how those things work. No hate, just thought it was funny, and also thank you for your service. We do have a lot of military that listen to our show, and not just American military, but international military as well. I'd like to echo that. We appreciate what you do for us. You make it so that people like me don't have to do that. And that's fantastic. We do appreciate that. And then also for local community building, in our area, we have several people who have kind of picked up the ball and made it a lot better and made it more inviting. We started with a core group of us that kind of had to pass the baton, later on as life got in the way, or in my case, this fucking show. And, but like the group that's there now, and so Vintox, Dom, Taylor, you guys are all like doing us proud and making it so that we still have a burgeoning, growing, and awesome community. So I echo that sentiment. Thank you very much for making this community be kind of what I think flesh and blood communities should be. Ours is great. I can't, there's no notes. It's a great community with great people, and I'm happy to be a part of it. So thank you as well. Moving on, this one's from the Clayborg, another one of my locals, as a matter of fact. If he could, speaking to Isuardi, add a class to Flesh and Blood that isn't already in the game, what would it be and why? Ijor? Give me a class, baby.
Vampire. I think vampire class. I'm a huge fan of Castlevania, and I would.
Because you're a man of culture.
I would love to do vampires in Flesh and Blood.
Jesus, a Simon Belmont type of character, a Richter Belmont type of character. Fuck yeah! Like, give me that and Alucard, and I'll be just the happiest that you can possibly make me.
Yeah.
Because I love Castlevania. It's the best. And didn't we just get a new season of the Netflix series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I need to. But did you ever read the comic? Go ahead.
I'm more like a fan of the game, not the animation.
Yeah. Oh, sure. The game, Castlevania Symphony of Night, is one of my top 10 video games ever. Yeah, it's incredible.
I'm playing the Japanese version, and I don't know shit about it. I'm just like wandering around the castle. But it's really, really fun.
I will completely cop to being half-mast whenever I hear the words Dark Metamorphosis, and I'm not ashamed. But yeah, I think vampires would be fun. Did you ever read the comic book or watch or have the comic book Crimson?
Crimson? I heard about it.
I'll send you a link. I think that you would fucking love it because it's that manga style of art with vampires, Carlos. Now I'm losing his name. Let me just look it up. Humberto Ramos. That's it. And it's epically good. I was a giant fan. It went for 24 issues. So not a long time, but it was one of like the Top Cow books, I believe. But yeah, it was Humberto Ramos, and it is epically good. So you should check out Crimson. I think you'd actually love it. But I think vampires would be tits. I'm in for vampires.
I don't know. It would like fit to be a class or talents. I mean, like vampiric rune blade. It's really. I mean, it's on point. Huh? Like imagine your rune chance drains life.
Oof. You don't need that, but think about like even going a step further in things like vampire assassin even, and no weapons, just claws and bites would be pretty sick. Yeah, I'm into this. Darick, do you have anything?
The thing that would make me a brute player is if we got a werewolf brute.
If you want to send us straight into like eldritch horror and or classic horror, yeah, vampire brute or werewolf brute would be right up there. And that would actually make Mara a brute player. That'd be pretty epic too. Next question is from One Hit Wookie. What is your favorite piece of TCG art that wasn't drawn by yourself?
Yeah, I think if we're talking about CG art, like Magic have like incredible talents there. I mean, artists like Scott M. Fisher or Jasper Isaac.
Yeah.
It's dude, they're like gods to me.
Pete Venters was my
Pete
dude.
Venters,
but yeah.
Pete Venters.
Yeah. Ian Miller. I loved Ian Miller's work. But was there a specific piece in like any of the games that like that's the thing for you?
Piece?
Yeah.
I couldn't. Top of my head, I couldn't name the card. But surgical extraction?
The magic one or
the magic one?
The magic one with the original one?
The original one?
Yeah, that one's sick.
Sick, man.
Honestly. It's really good.
It's really good. It's classic.
Magic, it is. Magic had that thing where the volume is so high that you have like this clear segregation to me of really good work and like not great work and a lot in between. But the truly great works do stand out. And I think that is something that has carried over. So like mine was the original Aether Flash, which was Pete Venters. And I was just like, this looks like Silver Surfer getting fucking melted by lightning. I'm in for this. Like, this is great. So I was a big fan of that. And then anything Richard Kane Ferguson. Just all of it. I truly felt like RKF's art was not just jarring, but like that kind of cool, makes you search the art for the meaning, right? Like you had to dig through it. You look at things like Price of Progress or even like Arcane Denial, which isn't the best card. And you look at these cards and go, okay, there's a lot going on in this art. I need to blow this shit up and look through it. And I think that's really cool. I feel like those pieces to me stood out a lot. But I just was curious, like what was your thing? But again, it's hard to do. I'm the same. Like I can call out, or sorry, Ron Spencer was Aether Flash, not Pete Venters, but Ron Spencer also did Hammer of Bogarden, which was also one of my favorites. And then, but if you look at things like, in Flesh and Blood, specifically non-Ishur art, Blood on Her Hands has been my favorite because of just the representation in it. And this is somebody looking at their reflection in a pool of blood in their fucking hands. That the concept has me captured. And I think that a lot of times that's also what gets me in cards is when there's an understandable and relatable concept in the card, it's just so cool. I guess that's just how I am. I want to relate to the art.
I guess I'm saying the question is like the other TCG, because if we're talking about Flesh and Blood, I mean, other artists like nail it perfect. You mean if I'm saying like artists like Livia Prima or Federico Musetti, dude, that new Command and Conquer, man, that's really sick, man.
But they did that art dirty, and it makes me sad because if you look at the art on the like non-extended art, you're just kind of like, this is fine, I guess this is okay.
Yes.
And then you get the full art, and you're like, oh, never fucking mind, this is absurd. And it reminded me immediately, honestly, and it's a tie back, but this is what happened when I saw it in Prague, because I saw the non-extended art first. And I was like, okay. And then somebody handed me the extended art, and I'm like, that's not the same. Like, what the fuck? And the immediate thing that went in my mind was the Breaker art that you did, where they chopped it up into the pieces, but the full art is just ludicrously good. And I was like, man, they did this art dirty. Damn it. But at least they have a full art of it. Shaku Endbringer, by the way, is Pete Venters, and that's one of my favorites from Magic. That is creepy as shit, and I love that card. But I know that you love we all know that you have a favorite fab artist that isn't you, because you brought it up before.
I will bring it back like every time.
Yeah, and I get it because it's incredible, but I think that honestly, I feel like if you were to poll the community at large, there'd be some neck and neck running with you as well. So I think that you need to understand your place in this, because you're a lot of people's favorite.
Okay. I hope I don't disappoint.
No. Charmer, anything to add?
I don't think so.
All right. Next one's from Blaze Storm, valued member of the Patreon. What's your favorite set that's been released so far, and which was your favorite to draw and create for?
Talking about whole set, I want to say Hunted, like my favorite set, but I only do 2 cards.
Right. Yeah, limited number.
Very limited number.
But one of them is Arachne Marionette, and the other one is, Web of Deceit. So,
MST.
Did you also?
What?
Didn't you do Orb Weaver too, or no?
I'm sorry.
I thought you did 3 cards. Why did I think you did 3?
3? Really? No.
I think it was only 2. You're right. You know better than me because you're the one that does the work. But I thought it was 3, but I'm probably confusing myself because I'm dumb and been drinking again. No, it was just Marionette and Web of Deceit, right? Okay. But Marionette being like probably my favorite piece of art in the set. But just saying.
Yeah. I really enjoy when MSD come. I did Double Trouble, his Mask of Recurring Nightmare. Pretty fun doing that. I think neck and neck, MST and Hunted.
So more recent ones, honestly. Because you did quite a few things for heavy hitters.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because you did Starting Stake.
Yeah, Starting Stake.
You did Grains of Blood Spill.
Lead with Heart. And
Yep.
one other common card. I forget what it is.
Yep. I don't remember offhand, but yeah, you know you did quite a
You know,
few in there
it's
too.
good when
So.
the newer set I enjoyed more.
Right. That makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably better when that's the things you remember most are the things you did most recently. Next one's actually from Mara, who's definitely not an empress. She needs to get that through her fucking head that she's not an empress. What's your best advice for an aspiring professional artist? I know when people ask me about podcasting, I say don't.
Oh, that's quite the same. If you want to be happy, don't be just be artist, not professional artist. Just be artist.
Oh my god. Yeah, same thing. If you want to be happy, don't start a
My
podcast.
advice, if you want to be a professional artist, is just remember that there will be suffering. And
there will be suffering.
Yeah, there will be suffering, and you have to cope with that. If you manage to cope with that, you'll be a good artist, a good professional artist.
That's fair. Oh my god. I don't have anything to add to that.
No, I mean that was
That's
fantastic.
perfect.
That is
Yeah.
That is
All right.
it.
Yeah, when you monetize your hobby, suffering will come along.
I mean, I've been suffering for 168 weeks, so I get it. The next one is from Salty Sea Cat. If you could redesign a hero, what hero would it be? Also, if you could pick a class hero other than Assassin to draw, what would it be?
I mean, is this asking about mechanically or visually or aesthetically?
Both. All.
I think if talking mechanically, I would redesign the Huntsman.
Sure.
Please give love to my boy.
Yeah, you got done a little dirty. Not gonna lie.
Maybe
but-
if the contract is done, like the hero has ability to damage one more damage when the contract is done, or heal one damage when the contract is done. That will be good.
A better
Yeah.
payoff. Yeah.
Really better payoff. I don't know if it's gonna be overpowered the hero, but yeah, man, give Huntsman a love.
That's fair.
If pick a class, if I would pick a class, Wizard. I like playing Wizard.
You did that. I mean, you did that. You did Blaze.
but not in Classic Constructed. Adult Blaze, please, please.
You know that when Adult Blaze happens, it'll go
Please,
to you.
LSS.
But I think that the rest of us are terrified of Adult Blaze. Thank you very much. It's like, oh, we don't have to worry about like Lessons in Lava or Blazing Ether, and it's just like, correct. But if you don't think they're going to present or print some fucking specializations for Blaze, you're on crack. And they're probably going to be absolutely terrifying. So, maybe pump the brakes. Maybe. Next one's from Syndra, Elusive Runenchantress. How much control does an artist have over merchandise being made with card art related? How can I get a playmat of Haunting Rendition?
That I have to check with people at LSS, but I remember that they're like pretty okay with us to do art prints. So, but I don't know about playmat. Usually we got playmat printed by LSS when we are invited to major events like Pro Tour or World Premiere or World Championship. Back then,
Okay.
calling provided, but I think it's not anymore.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully that ends soon and you can get, or hopefully we get a Haunting Rendition playmat so Syndra's happy. Next one's from Stoop Kid. What's the worst request you've ever gotten that you refuse to complete, excluding obviously illegal stuff?
In Flesh and Blood, I haven't refused commission yet.
You refuse dig up dinner.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like from LSS, right? I think this question is for artist proof or something. No,
a commission, sure. Yeah.
If I'm grateful that people don't ask for degenerate shit for me, so I have to reject it. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
That's good. That's good. And then when you get requests from LSS, do they give direction on Easter eggs they want referenced? Do you know?
Not yet, really. Easter eggs, not
okay.
Yet, really. Maybe
okay.
It's the case with other artists, but when I don't know if Easter egg, but when I given task drawing lightning greaves, they specifically want the character from Shock Charmers, so I think it's not an Easter egg.
Oh, sure. No, not really. But I guess that people might not know that the character from Shock Charmers is the same character on Lightning Greaves. They might not know that, but now they do. Then speaking of Lightning Greaves, was the instructions for Lightning Greaves its feet? You know what to do?
No, the instruction is we won't fit. Shut up, we won't fit. Shut up, we won't fit.
Fuck it, give me feet. Same asker Rogue Noob actually gave us another question, which is what artists have / had the most influence in your style? Are there any pieces in particular? And then what really made you decide to work on TCG art? So who influenced you as an artist? Let's start there.
Influenced me? Oh, that's awful lot. I mean, like influence comes in many stages, right? Like when I was a kid, like when I read Dragon Ball, it makes me want to draw, but does it make me want to draw professionally? No. But yeah, but
so Akira Toriyama would be your start, right?
Yeah, it's start. Yeah, and then when I'm starting to see the artwork like a profession, like a path of careers, I think when I'm playing video games, right? I want to draw cool shit like shown in video games, and my first recollection is when I'm in awe, like playing Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, this is great. Can I work in this path? No, but but like, yeah, it's influenced me. Like video games is like a big influence for me. And then
that's interesting.
And then I'm introduced to like traditional arts and comic book, American comic book, and influence that's like comes in different waves in my life.
Yeah. And that's interesting because, you know, people think about that and they don't understand, I think, a lot of the times the periods of life and how that impacts people. And like you talk about, you know, being early influence Akira Toriyama, you know, like you watched Dragon Ball or even played Dragon Quest, even like as an early RPG or whatever, and you get exposed to that, and then you finally get to Final Fantasy VII in the late 90s with like those absurd cutscenes which hadn't been seen yet in video games, and it gave everybody pause. because it was so cinematic and it gave an interesting feeling to it. And then you kind of move from there, and you reminded, like, what you're talking about reminded me of Joe Madureira, who drew late 90s X-Men through like Age of Apocalypse and things like mid to late 90s, and then Battle Chasers, which is I still would call it my favorite comic book of all time, but was heavily influenced by video games and then went into the video game field from there. But it's interesting how that progressed, because I never looked at what your art style does and like what your art is like and immediately thought video games. But now retrospectively, I'm starting to think of the different art pieces and going, that actually fits. Well, fuck.
Yeah, man. I mean, in my like university years, like I'm majoring in graphic design. I never like take this art profession like, oh, this is what I want to be. I think it's like out of my head. But and then like my friend introduced me into Deviant art, and I saw like wonderful art, and it's itched me to jump into the world.
Yeah, and because like I'm like starting to think through things, and I'm like, hold on, I could easily see playing the twins in Double Trouble in like Smash Brothers. I would play that and be super happy playing that. I can see Arachne as a video game character. Like that all makes sense to me. Arachne and Soul Calibur would be so much fucking fun. Yeah, I know, right? Like being able to like shift forms and do crazy shit. It'd be like Voldo, but like on crack. And that's hype. Like, and now you've got me thinking about those things. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed that. Because, even Infiltrate, it's a character that looks like straight out of a video game doing the superhero landing pose. And it's like, it's the most video game comic book thing I can think of, and I never thought of it. And that's incredible.
Yeah, it's like imprinted on me. When you said it's a superhero landing, I never thought it was superhero landing.
Right.
I never thought about it.
But because you've seen it 1,000 times.
Hold on, I gotta do this now. It's in here somewhere. Yep, here we go. Okay. Yep.
So this dude down here-ish is Thunderbird.
Oh.
He dies in this comic. It's also like my prized possession, and it makes Charmer sad that I own one.
It doesn't make me sad. It makes me very happy for you.
Happy for you.
It makes you happy for me.
Right. I mean, I did own one. I had one at one time.
Yeah, I still need to get that sent in to be graded, because it is definitely better than people thought it was. But yeah, I'm out of questions now. Should we thank some patrons?
Yeah,
feels like we should thank some patrons. Let's just do that. They're good people. We'll start with our associate producers. We have Andy Sindra, Jack Mihoff. All right. Jacob and the Salty Sea Cat. For our executive producers on Up, we have Blaze Storm, value member of the Patreon, Brandon, Diana, who has accepted our terms of bringing the high seas to Las Vegas.
Okay.
Because she's the one that gave out juice boxes.
Right.
Yeah. Would you like to do the honors, Isur, on this one?
Let's get trust!
That is some good fucking thrusting right there, my friend. Larry Makaya, Pax Anus, Sergeant Isbjorn, Vintox, Chris, Philip, Rich, Sergeant Swanson. Next week's guest, Sergeant Snipes himself, Matt Wynn, as he has hit the threshold and it will be a guest next week on Flesh and Pod. I'm a man of my word. You pay me the money, I'll put you on the show. And the Jackal. If you are interested in becoming a member of our Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Links in the show notes. There are some fucking number of tiers. You sign up for one. That's a paid tier. You get into FAP After Dark, which will be on Wednesday. I believe that's the 20th. Nope, I lied. That's the 19th of February. We'll be in there doing our normal vibes, hangouts, and bullshitting. So if you're a paid member of the Patreon, please and come in and hang out with us. It's a lot of fun, and some dumb shit gets said. If you need to contact the show, you can send us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. I promise I will not ignore it. If you need to contact us, the best things to do are to find us on BlueSky. You can just search Flesh and Pod. But the best thing to do is to join our Discord. It is free. Anybody can join. You don't have to be a member of Patreon, anything else. You can talk to Isuardi there. He's in our Discord. And amongst other people, I'm trying to figure out other things I can do with our Discord, but every time I start to think of something, I do then do something else, and I forget what I was thinking about. So I'm doing a great job of cultivating our community, and instead I'm just a fucking piece of shit. If you need to find me, you can find me at just do the Flesh and Pod shit. That's the only thing I pay attention to anymore anyway. I'm the one behind all the socials, so that's great. That works out for me. Isuar, where can they find you?
You can find me at FleshandPod Discord.
It's true.
Find me on X, Instagram, BlueSky, Facebook, maybe.
It's IJUR. It's just Isuar.
Yeah, it's Instagram and BlueSky is IJUR. In X, it's IJVR because IJUR is already taken by.
Fuck them. Let's kill them.
Yeah, let's assassinate them.
That escalated really quickly. Wow.
I've been drinking. It's fine.
I don't
Darick,
think
where can
that's
they
going to
find
hold
you?
up in a court of law. You can find me in one of your local wellness camps for people that are on SSRIs for our addictive
God damn it.
stuff, or I could be an active member of the prison industrial complex, because if you take away my antidepressants, I will become a problem, like more so than I already am. I'm aware of how much of a problem I am, but I will be even more problematic. So viva la revolucion. I don't know, I'm painfully American, so I can't say that with the appropriate accent, but BlueSky, I guess. Our Discord is great. You can find me in the streets.
It's true. Also, remember, the guillotines are still in the garage. We haven't forgot about the French Revolution. I guess that's our show for this week. We got a good thrusting. We got enough to get canceled on. Some video cuts. Yeah, we did it all. So, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you next week for episode 169, I guess, with a listener guest host.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Until then, talk to you next week. Bye.